Have you ever been doing a deep dive into Star Wars lore and thought to yourself, oh my god, there has to be so much more, and then you find a page called Bloore on Mandalore and you go, well, there has to be more lore on Bloore on Mandalore, and then it just reaches in, grabs you by the gonads, consensually, very consensually. It's kind of like a little bit of a beautiful interaction, and he picks you up and he pulls you in closer and he goes, trust me, there's so much more to learn with the Bloore on Mandalore, or so much more to explore with the Bloore on Mandalore. See what I did there? Yes, and you've stumbled upon this video. Today, we are going to be doing a deep dive into lightsaber customizations. Now, this one is heavily inspired by my recent playthrough of Jedi Survivor. Now, I love that game. I love it for many reasons, but the number one reason is its customization. I think its customization is the best out of any game that I've ever played. And the lightsaber customization specifically, oh yeah, it's really good. Like you could just two-hand that bad boy and swing into life. Stormtroopers beware, because you got a big, thick metal rod coming right at you. What a classic. What a classic. This is not a bad show. So everyone, tune in. I've got a 4-part breakdown into the 4 best parts of the customizations of a lightsaber that you can have for both a Jedi and a Sith. Now, this one, just to kind of let you know, this is going to be a lot more Jedi-centric. This is not going to really be the Sith, because let's be honest, the Sith are really just copycats of the Jedi. Like, it's so much, they're so much worse. No, like, seriously, really, what do the Sith do with lightsabers the Jedi don't really do themselves? Like, okay, yeah, sure, they've got gold on their lightsabers more. Oh, wow, go back to the High Republic. And oh, they're so edgy, so dark, and so scary. They've got black and grays. Wow, what great muted tones, mate. No, we're going to be talking about a lot to do with the Jedi lightsabers and kind of the history of all of this. So before we get into anything, if you like this kind of video, please consider giving it a like and a subscribe. A comment down below if you like any part of this video, like anything to do with this channel. I've got plenty more videos just like this one. And let's jump into the emitters. As you can see on your right there, I have a beautiful diagram of the Darksaber with a list of every single customizational part of a lightsaber, or the main customizational parts of a lightsaber that you can do in Jedi Survivor. And it's what I think are the most important parts to create the most identifiable lightsaber possible. All right, so you might be thinking to yourself, Jeremy, what would you know? You're Bloore on Mandalore. There's only been one Mandalorian with a lightsaber, Tar Vizsla. All right, yeah, I know my stuff. And you know what? He only made one of the coolest lightsabers ever. But you might be thinking, Jeremy, you just don't know. How could you know? You're not a real Star Wars guy. You also kind of do Lord of the Rings as well. First of all, don't say that kind of stuff. They're fighting words. And you're not the one standing in a suit coat and also with 3 whiteboard markers in your hand. Yeah, that's what I thought. So let's get into every single category. I'm going to reach over, break the 4th wall, and move you over to the right there. How crazy is that? Oh my God, slightly moving you there. So I personally think that the emitter, all right, that is the very first category right here. The emitter is one of the most identifiable parts of a lightsaber itself. Now, the emitter is actually this part of the lightsaber right there. It is the point or the tip in which the blade emerges from the hilt. But why do I say it's the most important for customization? Well, because I actually really do think that this is the most identifiable part. Now, an identifiable part. When you look at something like Jaro Tapal's lightsaber, you look at Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, all of these hilts and everything like that, it's very much the same, but it's the emitter that takes the cake of the most identifiable aspect. So if you had something like Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, right? Let's give it like that, and then it's got like a little, oh my God, this is the best drawing ever, right? So you've got like Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, you've got like a different part there, and then, oh my God, that's beautiful. That is the best drawing that you have ever seen. Come on, guys, come on. And then you've got something like Jaro Tapal's, which is a little bit like this, but it's a little smoother on the edges there. All of those, like when you see that compared to the bigger hilt like that, dude, okay, what looks the same? that and that. What doesn't look the same? I rest my case. All right, let's wipe that bad boy off. Honestly, watch this fucking whiteboard fall off at one point. Anyways, the emitter is one of the coolest parts, and it's actually my favorite bit as well. I mean, personally for me, I know I talked about it before, but the Jaro Tapal, or the Cal Kestis of the future lightsaber emitter is actually my favorite. So if I was going to put that one up there, let's see what is going to be my favorite overall. Oh, I guess that's kind of goes like this, right? All right. And then I'm going to call it there like that. That is awesome. That's the coolest part. But then we get on to the joints. Now, you might be thinking, what really are the joints? Well, your fun fact, you can't actually see it on this lightsaber, and that's the point that I wanted to make. Now, if you're looking at the joints, it's these little parts here that you can add on to a lightsaber that will allow it for a crossguard stance. Now, you could see that there was a little bit of lightsaber blurry, cool energy stuff right there, like the Kyber crystal was going freaking crazy with that one. Personally, I don't really like this kind of crossguard stance that you see in Jedi Survivor, but I just want to make a little bit of a reference. The seat joints, oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing. So when you see these joints here, you're probably going to be like, oh, well, that's kind of like Kylo Ren. Wrong. Kylo Ren actually had he had exhaust ports on the side here. So if you look at his lightsaber just over there, you'll actually get to see that the Kyber crystal itself was so powerful that it actually just fractured and went and kind of exploded a little bit. And the raw power was enough that it would just crack anything, and it could not be contained purely by the single exhaust port of the emitter. The emitter wasn't strong enough to hold it, even though it's quite a wide, thick base of an emitter. That's where the joints or the kind of exhaust ports came into question there. So they added some onto the sides, and then you get the full, thick lightsaber parts. Now, that is a very, very clear and very distinguishable description compared to the joints here, which is that crossguard stance. If anyone has played on Jedi Survivor, you'll get to see this actually allows for heavier swings. Most of the time, the handles here would be so much longer. They would be thicker. It's kind of it's built like a claymore. So a claymore was an old Scottish weapon. There's actually one that's kind of hidden in a lake there was like a really big battle that everybody talks about. Oh my God, the king threw his claymore into the lake, and then they're going to find it somewhere. Yeah, look, they're probably not going to find it, but you will be able to find a lot of this in the High Republic era stuff. I like it. I think it's a little bit more distinguishable. Obviously, I was talking about before how the emitter is the most distinguishable part of a lightsaber. But when you see something like the joints, it adds a lot to do with the character. But it is very much to do with the individual Jedi and their stances, how they like to fight, what kind of battle style that they use. Now, then we go down to the switch. Now, a lot of people might think that the switch isn't going to be the most important part of a lightsaber, but it is actually the most customizable part of a lightsaber. So let's see something. That is the switch right there. I kind of went over it with the joints, but you get what I'm talking about. So the switch right here, it's actually only customizable depending on the Jedi's hand that uses it. A proper switch and the area of the switch is going to allow for a Jedi to ignite their saber faster, better, more reliably. Comparatively, you could see someone like Yoda to Jaro Tapal. Now, Jaro obviously had the biggest, fattest hand, and then you had Yoda, who had a tiny hand. Obviously, none of that is going to be the exact same. So that switch, it's cool, it's awesome, I like it, but it's not going to be the most important part of the whole lightsaber itself and the function. Actually, it will be the grip. So the grip here is basically around this area. You get to see something like Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, where he had all of these really long kind of like beams going down. Obviously, it's not beams. You know what the hell I'm talking about. But he had something like the beams that are going down there. Now, a lot of this is determined on the type of character you are. If it's something that is, someone of raw power, power, is someone who is uncontrollable. Their anger, it kind of flows through them a lot more. I know obviously it seems like I'm just referencing Anakin Skywalker himself, but I'm not. I'm actually talking about the Jedi themselves. Yoda had a very similar lightsaber. Yes, Anakin kind of modeled his on Yoda's lightsaber, but not really. Okay, so a lot of that comparatively to something like Obi-Wan's lightsaber. Now, Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber was a super sleek, classic, just very by-the-book lightsaber, and it's reflective of who he is as a character. Now, when you get to see all of these together, obviously that will tell you the whole story, but I feel like the grip is the most important part of that to give you that identifiable aspect of the character's form, their characters, you know, their personality, who they are, their identity. Now, then you get down to the pommel. All right, so the pommel, oh my God, am I running out of ink? No, so the pommel. Now, the pommel is this bottom part right here, and it's not on every lightsaber. Now, I say that because a lot of other lightsabers, it depends whether or not you have the single blade or you have something that is a, just a double lightsaber or even a dual wield, something where it could break off. Like when you see Kyber's lightsaber in the Acolyte, I know obviously a lot of people aren't going to be too happy about the Acolyte. You get to see Kyber's saber, he had a little dagger at the bottom there. So he'd twist that bad boy off and he'd just go meow, 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 like stabbing. That's me stabbing, like stabbing with all that kind of stuff. So obviously this is mainly to do with a single blade lightsaber, someone that is a classic style. But then let's get into the material. So obviously, okay, I don't really have favorites for the rest of them, to be fair. So I'm just going to kind of continue. To be fair, I think my favorite lightsaber actually is the Cal Kestis or Jaro Tapal's, but Jaro Tapal as a single-bladed lightsaber, or even the twistable kind of like dagger dual saber version that we get to see at the end of Jedi Fallen Order. So then we get into the materials and wear. Let's write that in. Now, I want to say this actually, the wear part of it is not going to be the most important, but the material is. I think the wear, a lot of the time, it's going to break down to, this big category itself is going to break down into four separate micro categories, which are legacy. I can't write this. Trials. Identity and durability. I'm just trying not to like cover the whole camera by itself. Oh, okay, look at that. God, I can't do a Y on that. So when I talk about the legacy of a character, and I'm talking about where they grew up, how they became the person that they are. I'm not talking about, the all of the stuff that they've done, which that still might affect it, but their legacy itself is the character's history. Oh, yeah, I should actually be a school teacher. This is crazy. The trials. Now, the trials, I think, actually really only affects the wear itself. Now, the wear is literally just how aged it might be, if it's damaged in any way. I'll give you, for an example, Kylo Ren's lightsaber. So Kylo Ren, his one is all industrial. It's broken. It's shattered comparatively to Ben Solo's, which is obviously his alter ego. What I've become. You know what I mean? I kind of changed the words on that one. So the trials there, basically, that's going to be like what happened to them, what happened to the lightsaber, how it became that lightsaber itself. And I would just say it is the trials and tribulations. It's kind of like a rainbow. Oh, that's so crazy. Rainbow! Identity. All right, so the identity is also going to be kind of tied into the legacy, but it really is the history of the character again, but in a slightly different way. Now, an example that I'm going to give for the identity is someone like Gungi. Now, Gungi is a Wookiee Jedi. He is a Jedi who is kind of like, he's not very common in the Star Wars universe. To see someone like that, it really only happens every couple of thousand years. I mean, yes, Obviously, we saw Kelnucka, and then we see Gungi. So, yeah, okay, maybe that's a little bit different. But it's a very rare thing to have a Jedi as a Wookiee. But the identity there for Gungi's lightsaber was it was basically the bark of the Warshare tree. The Warshare tree is the main tree on Kashyyyk. It's something that is really, really important to the Wookiees themselves. It is the tree of life on their whole on their whole planet. Like, it literally, when you get to see it, it's really, really cool. You actually, in Jedi Fallen Order, you get to walk up on the Warshare tree. It's like a really, really, if you guys have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's like a really, 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 really big tree that is in the center of everything. All of its off spawns and offspring, or whatever you want to fucking call it, because I guess it's a tree. All of them are littered around, all mini versions of the Warshare tree. Everything talks, everything's connected. It is very heavy with the Force. Now, the wood or the bark of the Warshare tree is actually just as durable as Durasteel or any kind of regular material. So it's an interesting thing to have something like that as the material in order to create your lightsaber. We get to see someone like Huang kind of talk about this one, which is really, really cool. And then we go into the durability. Now, tied into the wood of the Warshare tree, and I was talking about durability there, we have something like the Darksaber itself. This one. Oh my God, that's so cool. So the Darksaber was actually confirmed in the Mandalorian season, I believe it was 3. If I get that wrong, I'm not a really a good Mando fan. But they were, season 2, I think. No, season 3. Talking about the Darksaber and also talking about how it is pure Beskar. Now, that pure Beskar is the only material that can rival the actual blade of a lightsaber itself. It's what the lightsabers could not cut through. Now, okay, I say the only material. Obviously, we've got the Zillo Beast and the Zillo Beast armor and all that kind of stuff. It can deflect. There's a bunch of different materials that are popping up every now and then that are going to show like the same kind of things. But the durability matters when it comes to a lightsaber. You look at something like any kind of regular Jedi. You get into a fight. You want to have like a little. Oh my God, this is going to be a Jedi fight, by the way. Look at that. All right, so you got 2 lightsaber blades. That looks like a fucking butter knife. That looks like a cheese knife. That looks like a cheese knife and a butter knife. Now you're fighting there. Someone goes, chop. Oh my God, my lightsaber's cut in half. What a stupid butthead, stinky butt move to do. All right, now I didn't like how in Mando season 3, how they had the Darksaber being crushed by Moff Gideon. I think Moff Gideon's robot. I think Moff Gideon's still alive. Oh my God, look, see, you can see my mustache in there. So I don't really like that it was kind of destroyed by that, but it's really important to have a durable lightsaber, something that is reflective of your history, the trials that you've been through, and actually has the identity of not just you, but also your people. I think a lot of the time in Star Wars, when they talk about the identity, they are talking about what is their race, or I guess like kind of race, but it's something to do with the history of their people, be that Mandalorians, Wookiees, whatever. I think you can go into a deep dive into that. But then you have something like the blade color. So you can have here. Let me start to kind of get rid of some of this stuff. So you still have like the basics, the basic juiciness. All right. So we have red, blue, white. Oh, he's going into lore. What? That's crazy. You've got green, purple. I know someone was probably watching that and going, how has he not put purple yet? That's fucking crazy. You know, Mace Windu, like Samuel Jackson went up to George Lucas and he was like, oh my God, I want to see myself in the fight on Geonosis. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy. We all have that knowledge, bro. We all have that knowledge. I know what I'm talking about. We actually have magenta. No, not magenta. Bloody that's the same thing as purple. We have orange. I really can't do on the side. I can't do the orange there. And then we also have cyan and yellow. Now, all of these are the canon lightsaber colors. Obviously, red being Sith. We've got blue blue and green being the Jedi, and we've got white being the red lightsaber, the red Kyber crystal that has actually been bled to become, or kind of de-bled, I guess. It's removed all of the impurities of the dark side and then turned into something white. It has no color. It only has the power of good, the power of the people. And then you've got something like the purple. Now, interesting thing about purple is it's someone who uses both light and dark side in order for good. All right. So someone like obviously Mace Windu, who was very proficient with dark side techniques as well as light side, kind of dabbled in both of them to become the best type of Jedi possible. He has something like a purple. Now, orange, I'm going to talk about someone like Baylan Skoll, all right? Baylan Skoll, who is, a lot of people want to say a grey Jedi. I really don't think grey Jedis exist that much. I did, actually, you know what? If you go back to like one of my first, I think it was like my third video, I think I talked about grey Jedis and kind of like who they are and what I believe with them. But it's not really that important. So basically the orange is like slightly bad, I guess. They haven't really actually explained that too much. Cyan is something of an original lightsaber color. Now, they've put cyan in there as a color mainly because on the original bloody A New Hope, you actually get to see on VHS, the color didn't come out very well, so it was more of a cyan before they redid it and it became a deeper blue. I like that. I really like that. I think that's like a really cool explanation. And then you have someone like the yellow lightsaber. Connor from Beyond the Dune Sea's favorite one, so I'm going to underline that one. Yellow lightsabers are people who are guardians of the Force. Basically, people who are not aligned with the Jedi or the Sith. They are just aligned with the Force itself, which is why I actually really like that Rey had something like a yellow lightsaber. I think it's just kind of, it's a new age of the Jedi. It's not something that is as dogmatic as what it was before. So then we get into the very last part. This is the fourth one. We have the lightsaber types and combat styles. Now, we have got the very, very classic, which is something like this, which is used, just the classic lightsaber. We have a single blade, all right? Single blade lightsabers are very, very common for every Jedi. A lot of them just learn. I think it's kind of those NPC Jedi, you know what I mean? Nothing like Coleman Trebor. Coleman Trebor was a sick dude. He was a really, really cool dude. I don't know why he didn't have a sick double blade. Then you have something like the double blade, all right? So the double blade, which is kind of obviously, I'm going to do a little bit of Maul's. Everybody kind of understands that this is Maul. So they look like two butter knives. No, you know what they look like? They look like one of those traps. Okay, like the little, like you can put your finger in each, or like you're trapping a rabbit or something like that. Anyways, so you got the double-bladed lightsaber, which is actually really, really cool because it's a crowd control lightsaber. It's something that's like a staff. I wish Rey actually had a double-bladed lightsaber. And for anyone who's like, oh, he's referencing the sequels a lot, but I reference the characters that I like, and I think Rey's actually a really good character. So crowd control, really, really cool. Something why you can actually see it quite reflective in Battlefront 2. That is the EA Battlefront 2. I think that's like 2018. The Maul has like a lot. He has no stamina at all, but he has really heavy hits and he's really fast and he's good with big groups of people. That is the benefit of the double-bladed lightsaber. Then you have got the Shoto. Oh my God, that was really bad. That was really bad. Or kind of like just double or like dual wield lightsabers. It's for fast attacks. They look like candles. They actually look like candles. So you've got like fast attacks. It's fast, quick. How many other synonyms can I say for fast? Basically, just quick combat. Don't really have to go into that too much. And then you've got the crossguard, something like that bad boy right there. I like the crossguard. I think the crossguard's really, really cool. But, it's not my particular style of fighting. It's not going to be something that I would choose. And I never really liked it when I was doing Jedi Survivor. I know. It's kind of like, a lot of people like that heavy swinging claymore. personally, every other game I use a claymore. Like, I love claymores. I love the heavy hitting cross guarded ones, because what the best part about this is, it's like the same thing when you have a knife blade. You've got kind of like a little bit of a dent in the blade like that, right? Let's say the blade was here like that. The reason why they have a dent in this blade is because that actually catches another blade, so you can twist it and then remove it from their hand to just go shank, shank, shank. So that's kind of what I see with the crossguard stance. It's like something that you can just go and kind of like cut it up, cut it around, and throw it around, and just basically disarm your person. Crossguard is heavy, powerful swings, very similar to the double blade when it comes to those heavy swings, but less crowd control. Now, that's something for like a really heavy hitting fighter, someone like Kylo Ren. But I actually think, now this is personal for me, but and not a lot of people would kind of agree with me. I believe that Darth Vader should have had a cross-bladed lightsaber. Yes, obviously I understand why it wasn't, because they couldn't really do that at the time. It was only something later with CGI and all that kind of stuff. I get it, but I feel like this suits him so much more. A really heavy hitting, hard warrior, That's all he really did. I mean, as well as like you play all of the games and you see all the movies, I mean, you see that he is one of the guys who just like bang, 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 he's not really doing too much there, except for like really hard, heavy hits. Nothing like what he was doing with the Obi-Wan. And then the last one you have, let's just chuck this one here. You have the lightsaber. Whoa, that one was so much better. And you have the pistol. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah. I'm just going to put like the flintlock style on it. I ruined it with that last bit. Anyways, so you have the lightsaber and then you have the pistol or the blaster. It's hybrid, it's close range, it's long range, it's not really mid. I think a lot of this one is kind of cheating. This ruins the whole aspect of what it means to be a Jedi, personally, for me. I mean, I know that Jedi didn't really use it because it's kind of a little bit of a cheat code. I mean, they've got the Force. You saw it with Luke on the Death Star when he shot the little proto-twin torpedoes and or ion torpedoes, twin ion torpedoes, and he's just like, I worked it, I got there in the end. And he shoots it in. Oh my God, he's got the perfect shot. How did you do it? The Force. He did it with the Force. That's all. And so, it's kind of cheating. I don't like when Cal Kestis uses it, because I personally just think it's not somewhat fitting for someone like him who is a kind of like a badass Jedi. He really is a Jedi. Now, I would see something like this for Jod Narwood from Skeleton Crew, or Han Solo if he was a Jedi, which is kind of like the same thing. And I would also see this as Mandalorians, which is kind of cool. The Darksaber and also a blaster. I think I'm going to call it there. I hope this is actually kind of handy. I mean, obviously this looks a little bit messy now, and it doesn't really seem like it makes a lot of sense, but I really liked it. I liked using the whiteboard. Tell me if you liked me using the whiteboard as well, because I actually kind of liked it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching and enjoying. Let me turn this over. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for enjoying. If you did like this, again, I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching this far. I mean, this has been a long time. This has been a lot of like crazy. I feel like that one dude, he's like, I guess I could probably do that as a thumbnail, but I feel like that crazy dude just going a little mental with all of the strings, like, but I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for enjoying. Thank you for just like fucking being here and just doing shit with me. I mean, I got 191 of you in the in my YouTube right now, like all of those subs. That's crazy. I love you all. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Next week, we're most likely going to be doing something when I'm building Lego at the same time. Get ready for brain rot, people. Brain rot. Brains are rotted anyway from TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts, I guess. Don't you hear me, YouTube? Don't listen to me. We're going to do some brain rot stuff. Lego, let's do it. I'm going to see you guys later. Love you. Have a good one.